A very curious picture was posted the other week by Barbara Machete, the sister of Flash movie director Andy Machete. And when you look at this picture, I don't know about you, but when I looked at it, I thought, why are you giving us this picture? It's pointless. Yeah, we see the director in action in his COVID mask, his headphones. It's cool. I like Andy Machete. I feel bad for the Machetes. They've had to go through a lot of shit while making this movie. But they're proud of the movie, and I believe they should be proud of this movie. But directors like to hand out little breadcrumbs sometimes. Now, the relevant part of this picture isn't Andy Machete, it's what's behind him. And what's behind him isn't Ezra Miller as the Flash, it's blatantly obvious it's Grant Gustin, the actor I class as the real Flash. Ezra Miller is a solid Flash, but Grant Gustin is beloved by all die-hard Flash fans because even though everyone agrees that the Flash series has been shit since season 3, everyone still loved Grant Gustin, his commitment to the Flash, his love of Superman as well. We all love Grant. And the difference between Grant Gustin and Ezra Miller, young kids can still look up to Grant Gustin as a person, an actor, and as Barry Allen and the Flash. That is Grant Gustin. How I know it, it's the costume, and Grant Gustin has a taller frame than Ezra Miller. That's blatantly obvious that it's Grant Gustin. But what are they doing? What are they trying to hint to here? That they've shot some scenes with Grant Gustin as the Flash. Now, it's pretty obvious to me, and it's been obvious to everyone for a long time, that the Flash movie is a multiversal movie, and they were going to bring different elements of Arrowverse, Christopher Reeve's Superman, Helen Slater's Supergirl. We were going to see different cameos using the apparatus of the multiverse and the Speed Force. But they definitely want us to know that Grant Gustin's in this movie. Is this just a mere cameo or a hint about the Flash going forward? Could it be possible that in this movie, at the end, using Flashpoint and the multiverse, that they replace Ezra Miller with Grant Gustin's Flash? I think we all know that Grant would never be replacing Ezra in this movie. I mean, if that happened, because Ezra's nearly in every sequence of this movie, they'd have to start again. It's clear they are not starting again. It looks like they've completed production. The score is almost done. I think they've wrapped the score. That's a hint to say, if you know anything about movie production, that this movie is done. They did a bunch of pickups in May, June with Ezra Miller. Maybe recently they were with Grant Gustin. But I believe they are hinting here that Grant Gustin will replace Ezra Miller. Now, of course, to some, this will be a hugely a controversial decision. I was trying to find the word. Yeah, I think, people will see this as controversial. Snyderverse fans, some won't like this. But it's clear that Warner Brothers Discovery and David Zaslav understand something. You need actors who play these heroes to be pure and have a good, reputation in the real world. Christopher Reeve, Tom Welling, Michael Keaton, etc., etc., etc. Most of the MCU actors playing these heroes have got good reps. Tom Holland is a great example to all actors playing superheroes. And so I don't think going forward we can continue with Ezra Miller. How can young kids and parents say, look at this hero, look up to him, he's amazing, when we've seen what Ezra Miller's done? Now, of course, I said the other day, I'm all about, forgiving and forgetting. I am, because we all do bad stuff in our lives and we all crave forgiveness. Of course we do. But I believe this studio is done with Ezra Miller. And I think at the end of this movie, using Flashpoint and the multiverse, they can suddenly say, when they come back to the new timeline, that Grant Gustin is now the Flash in the DC Extended Universe. And that's how you explain it. People were saying to me before, when there was rumours about Grant replacing Ezra in this movie, that how could it be done? It's improbable. And in terms of just shoving Grant in there and replacing Ezra with him in this movie, just having him show up would be impossible. But at the end of this movie, after Flashpoint, after Barry fixes Flashpoint, there's an explanation using the multiverse how Grant Gustin can be the DCEU's next Flash. This was going to be the same way they were going to explain Sasha Calle's Supergirl being Supergirl in the new timeline, and Michael Keaton's Batman being the new DCEU Batman. Now we believe, according to sources and rumours and scoopers, that Michael Keaton will no longer be the DCEU Batman going forward, and Ben Affleck keeps that title. I am very happy about it. Of course, there could be a scenario that Keaton and Affleck are both going to be Batman in the new timeline going forward. I think that's improbable and confusing. I can't see it, but Jason Momoa has hinted that both Keaton and Affleck are both in Aquaman and Lost Kingdom, and I've explained that because I think they're still going with Final Crisis. I still think that Affleck will be trapped. I think Cavill could still be trapped, and they're calling for help, and that's maybe how Ben Affleck is in Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. Of course, I could be talking shit, and you're screaming at me via your devices. You're wrong, you're wrong. Ben's back proper. You could be right, and I could be wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. We're doing a video. We're theorizing here. Theorizing is fun, and I think what we see here is a massive hint. As I said at the top of the show, this is definitely Grant Gustin. I don't think anyone can disagree with this. Now, what was going to be his original cameo? Because Grant was always going to be in this movie. Now, we saw a great Ezra Miller cameo in Arrowverse's Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think part of this is going to be where we see Ezra Miller's side of it, perspective of that cameo. And I think it's what happens in Flashpoint that makes it possible for Ezra's Flash to go to the Arrowverse in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and we still may get that perspective, and that may be what this is about. But clearly, and it looks like, does it look like green screen? Because the bottom, it looks like he's kneeling. Is that kneeling or something? I don't know. Or is he, because what's the bottom bit? I don't know. Anyway, whatever it is, he's there, and he's shooting something new. So this could just be a harmless cameo. As I was prepping this video, I was just going to talk about it being a harmless cameo for Grant Gustin. But it makes perfect sense. If you're going to replace Ezra Miller going forward, not in this movie, I want to be clear, that's not what I'm saying. But going forward, if they are going to replace Ezra Miller, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, all believe, they all believe that Miller's being replaced, that there's no way back for Miller after this movie. And his apology is all about clearing the decks so people can come in, enjoy this movie, and there's no issue, and this movie isn't harmed by Ezra Miller's antics. As I say, I feel bad for the Machetes. They're clearly a great producer, director, brother and sister team. Andy Machete and Barbara Machete have done nothing wrong. And if I've ever sounded disrespectful to them because I've been triggered by Miller's antics, I apologize to them personally. I respect them. They have made a great movie. You're going to see what challenges they had making this movie, bringing back other DC movies and putting Barry in them, like Man of Steel. We've heard those rumors already. I won't go into that too deeply. But yes, I don't believe this is just a Grant Gustin cameo. Now, we all remember when Miller was first cast, Stephen Amell, really was frustrated and came out on social media and said he was disappointed that his friend Grant is not the Flash in the DCEU. And Zack tried to explain, the Arrowverse is one universe and franchise, and the DCEU is another. Now, we know that all the MCU TV shows and movies are all connected together, and I think this is what David Zaslav wants as well. That's why all this Arrowverse stuff is being cancelled. You're either part of one universe or you're not. So instead of creating one brand new franchise, which I kind of assumed they were going to do, I think what they're going to do is take elements of Arrowverse and implement them into the DC Extended Universe, the stuff that they like, the actors that they like. Stephen Amell could be another element that is implemented in going forward in the new timeline of the DC Extended Universe. Because when actors have already got a following, it makes sense. And we know in the world we live in today, movie fandom, movie consumption is all about these cameos. People are obsessed with them. We've seen the fuss made of Hugh Jackman, returning as Wolverine in Deadpool 3. People are very excited. I can criticize that course of action, but people are excited for it, and I certainly cannot deny that. So Grant Gustin is definitely in the Flash movie. I'd be very surprised if Stephen Amell doesn't play a part. Using Flashpoint, they can even bring him back. And I think Stephen Amell would love to play Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, again. So lots of things are happening, and using the Flash movie, they can change things up. And I think without any doubt, with all certainty, that is Grant Gustin. As I say, could be a harmless cameo, or he could be replacing Ezra Miller in the future going forward at the end of the Flash movie. I want to know what you think about this. Do you want Ezra Miller replaced after the Flash movie? Do you think Grant Gustin is the right replacement? I'm not here just to deliver updates, news and rumours. I'm here to give you my takes about the DC Extended Universe and DC live action in general. I love Grant Gustin. He's a respectful guy. He keeps his rep clean. These are the kind of people we want. We want to clear the DCEU of the controversial aspect of it. It's been too controversial from day one, and we want that gone. The cancellation of Batgirl brings more controversy, but I understand why Zaslav did it. But I highly believe that Grant Gustin is replacing Ezra Miller going forward as the Flash, and we'll have to wait and see who's right and who's wrong. So I've got a few updates for you. So I'm very excited that Keanu Reeves is getting this great opportunity to do this Constantine 2, this Constantine sequel. And according to Daniel RPK, the scooper, who's blocked me, yes, you probably guessed most people block me because I'm a cocky, opinionated son of a bitch. Anyone who's seen me on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad knows I just can't help the quote tweets. So apologies. Anyway, according to Daniel RPK, Tilda Swinton is in talks to return as Gabrielle. Following Constantine, Constantine 2 stars Keanu Reeves and will be directed by Francis Lawrence. Very excited. I think Tilda is a great actor. She was rumoured to replace Peter Capaldi as the Doctor. She would have been an amazing Doctor, but I think that Chibnall would have fucked her over, and probably why it never happened. So that's that. Tilda Swinton returning as Gabriel, I think is how you say it, pronounce it. Isn't it interesting? In Sandman, it's not Constantine, it's Constantine. And that's the right pronouncement, so that Neil himself, who created these characters, that's how he pronounced it. I never knew that. Anyway, moving forward, we have a big one from Daniel RPK now. So as stated by Daniel RPK, Deathstroke is returning to the DCEU. I think he will appear in some James Gunn project. Now, this is something that I said and predicted for a very, very long time. I said it months ago because after Peacemaker came out on HBO Max, James Gunn said something very curious. I'm working on a DCEU HBO Max streaming show that will be a lot darker than Peacemaker. So we thought about Peter Capaldi's The Suicide Squad character, the Thinker, could be a prequel there because he died in the Suicide Squad movie. So I thought he's a dark character. But then there were a lot of hints and rumours about Deathstroke. Now, surely they're not going to recast Deathstroke. Joe Manganiello is great. Zack Snyder had huge plans for him. Ben Affleck was going to make him his villain in The Batman movie, which I'm still devastated about not getting. Maybe we'll still get it. We'll have to see about that. So yeah, Joe Manganiello is returning as Deathstroke in the DCEU, and I couldn't be more happier about that. Now, as I discussed yesterday, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Ben Affleck have been seen in LA. They do not live in LA. Gal lives in Palestine, Israel. No, not Israel, but Palestine. I'm sorry, I don't want to disrespect anyone, but yeah, apparently she lives in Palestine. Apparently. Is that in Israel? I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. She lives in Israel, Palestine, whatever. So she doesn't live in LA. So she would only be there if she's working. We've seen Henry Cavill with dyed black hair, there with his girlfriend or fiance, whatever. He's looking in his Superman shape. It looks like he's doing something. And Ben Affleck is in LA, California, Hollywood as well. So it's looking like they're going to be doing some extra scenes maybe for the Flash movie. Unlikely it's for the Flash movie because it looks like that film's been completed. But it could be for Aquaman The Lost Kingdom or any of the upcoming DC Extended Universe movies. Talking of Henry Cavill, there's another rumour. Apparently, he's re-signed with Warner Brothers. He's been in direct talks with David Zaslav, and he has re-signed with Warner Brothers Discovery to continue to play Superman. He hasn't worked for WB since the Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie. So he fell out with the old leadership. He's now apparently back in. Of course, this is just a report, just a rumour. I can't validate this for you. But if this is true, David Zaslav has hit the ground running. He shelved Batgirl. A huge decision, the right decision. It looks like he's re-signed Henry Cavill. He's greenlit a Batman sequel, a Joker sequel, a Constantine sequel. And it looks like he's re-signed Henry, as I've already said. Now, before I leave you for today, I saw this the other day after Humberto Gonzalez's hit piece about David Zaslav. So, some idiotic person said this: nobody wants to work with David Zaslav. If Warner Brothers Discovery is really smart, they'll hire a new CEO. There's just something about Zaslav that's uncreative and old school. Nobody wants that. There's nothing more creative than old school entertainment people. It's modern people in entertainment. It's the progressives. It's progressives like you that are the problem. What an uneducated, unfounded, ridiculous piece of, hot taking I've ever heard. David Zaslav built Discovery from the ground up. He's the one who implemented Discovery Plus. Discovery or Warner Brothers will not be replacing him as CEO, and they're very happy with his decision making, which won't come to fruition for a few years because they're going to have to rework and rebuild WB and DC from the ground up. And just because you don't like certain decisions or don't understand them, it doesn't mean the man is going to be replaced. And as for nobody wanting to work with him, Todd Phillips, Matt Reeves, Keanu Reeves, apparently Henry Cavill's happy to work with him or work for the company that he's running, that he's CEO of, if the rumours of Henry re-signing with WB are true. So it's just more bullshit because progressives are triggered by Zaslav shelving Batgirl. It is the way it is. These decisions are being made, but I'm very excited about the future for DC films and television going forward. Some big decisions, some big breaking news to come. So the main headline today is that I believe that Grant Gustin will replace Ezra Miller going forward in the DC Extended Universe at the end of the Flash movie and beyond that. Do you agree? Disagree? Please let me know in the comments down below. This has been Movies TV Man. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wife. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in the next video. Until we see each other again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.